All right, today we are diving deep into a match that, believe me, was a whole lot more complex than the final score suggests. We're going to break down the tactical story behind Arsenal's huge win over Aston Villa.
4-1. Yeah, on paper, that looks like a complete demolition, right? Just a simple story of one team being way, way better from the first whistle to the last.
But you and I both know football is rarely that simple. So the real question is, what was the tactical story that was unfolding on the pitch? How did a really tight contest just suddenly unravel into a complete rout? Well, that's what we're here to figure out.
To really get why Villa collapsed, we've got to start by looking at Arsenal's performance. Let's see how their game plan, especially in that second half, totally flipped the script on this match.
And this right here just says it all. It really was a classic game of two halves. You look at the first half. It was a tense, tactical stalemate. Villa was defending deep. Arsenal was getting frustrated. They just couldn't break through. But then, the second half, Arsenal just hits the accelerator. They change up their structure, they're faster, and bam, 4 goals in just 30 minutes. Villa was just completely and utterly overwhelmed. So what flipped the switch? What was the catalyst for this huge shift? Because it wasn't a slow burn. It was one single moment that just shattered Villa's entire strategy.
And here it is. This was the moment, the turning point of the entire match. We're just 3 minutes into the second half, corner kick comes in, and Gabriel Magalhaes gets up and heads it home. A simple set-piece goal, you see them all the time. But the consequences of this one, they were massive.
This is where you see the dominoes start to fall. As soon as Villa conceded that goal, their whole plan to sit deep and just absorb pressure, it was gone. Pointless. They had to scrap it. So what happens? They're forced to push their defensive line higher up the pitch to try and chase the game. And in doing that, they gave Arsenal exactly what they've been waiting for. Space. Tons of space to attack. The entire game plan undone by a single corner.
Okay, so with all this new space to play in, Arsenal took over the most critical part of the pitch, the midfield. Let's take a look at how they did it.
And right at the heart of it all was one player who was, for all intents and purposes, the brain of the entire operation, Martin Zubimendi. I mean, his performance was a total masterclass. He was controlling the rhythm of the game, he was breaking up any attempt Villa made to counter, and he was driving the ball forward with real purpose. He was that perfect, seamless link between the defense and the attack. And, just to cap it all off, he scores the second goal just 4 minutes after the first. A really sharp finish that just broke Villa's spirit for good.
So tactically, what was he doing? He was playing this hybrid role, kind of like a regista mixed with a box controller. Now what does that mean? It means he was the deep-lying playmaker, dictating everything from behind, while also completely dominating that crucial zone right in front of the penalty area. He had total control of the two most important spaces in midfield.
All right, so we've seen how Arsenal built up their dominance. Now let's flip the script. Let's take a closer look at exactly why Aston Villa's tactical setup just crumbled so spectacularly once the pressure was on.
This comparison tells you the whole story of that second half. On one side, you've got Arsenal's attack, just constant, smart movement designed to pull defenders out of position and get into those dangerous half spaces. And on the other side, Villa's defense was just a mess. Communication errors, a jagged, uneven defensive line, and defenders constantly losing their markers. It was tactical precision versus absolute defensive chaos. So let's just boil it down. Here are Villa's critical failures. First, they pushed a high defensive line with center backs who just didn't have the pace to handle it. Second, their midfield was completely overrun by Arsenal's aggressive press, which led to them losing the ball in really dangerous spots. And third, and this is crucial, the manager was way too slow to make any changes, any substitutions. He just allowed Arsenal to build up this wave of momentum that, in the end, became unstoppable.
So when you take a step back and put all these pieces together, what's the final verdict here? Well, this was so much more than just a 4-1 win for Arsenal.
This tactical summary just lays it all out, plain and simple. Arsenal showed off a brilliant, patterned attack. They were lethal on set pieces, and they had 100% control of the midfield. Villa, on the other hand, well, their defense proved to be really brittle under pressure. There was a clear lack of on-field leadership, and they were just tactically outmatched in that second half. It's as simple as...
This quote just hits the nail on the head. This wasn't a case of one team just having an off day. No, this was a demonstration of a team, Arsenal, that was simply superior in every single tactical dimension, from strategy and execution all the way down to individual brilliance.
Which of course leaves us with one final big question. When a team can dismantle another team not just with talent, but with this level of tactical intelligence and ruthless efficiency, is that the real signal of a champion in the making? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.